Recognizes Ms. Ansari.
Mr. Chairman, it's outrageous that this is what we're choosing to spend our time on the Oversight Committee. At the first one,
Fraud?
at the first one, yes, fraud, because
Okay.
let's talk about fraud. At the first one of these ridiculous series of hearings on Minnesota, I brought up the dozens of horrific ongoing corruption scandals in the Trump administration, but I know we're very scared of Donald Trump, so we won't be talking about those. But those are the things that we should be investigating on the Oversight Committee. Now we have another one. The Department of Justice was caught red-handed withholding explosive and credible FBI witness interviews of a woman who accused Donald Trump of sexually assaulting her when she was a minor. Shouldn't we hold a hearing on that? Shouldn't Pam Bondi be here, forced to testify why she is violating the law that Congress passed, the Epstein Files Transparency Act, nearly unanimously, along with this committee's subpoena? But since the Republican majority instead wants to have a conversation about Minnesota, then let's do that. The Trump-Epstein regime's deployment of thousands of ICE agents, Donald Trump's personal secret police force, is a fascist disgrace. These untrained agents terrorized the people of Minnesota, violated their rights, and even shot them dead in the streets. I want to remind us all about what happened to Alex Preddy, an intensive care nurse murdered by CBP agents while trying to protect a woman that the officers were assaulting. After his murder, Stephen Miller said Alex was, quote, a domestic terrorist who tried to assassinate federal law enforcement, a would-be assassin, and an assassin. Krsti Noem said Alex was, quote, committing an act of domestic terrorism. She said, I don't know any peaceful protester that shows up with a gun and ammunition rather than a sign. She accused Alex Preddy of brandishing a weapon, despite video evidence showing the gun never left its holster. Greg Bavino said, quote, this looks like a situation where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. And Donald Trump said Alex was, quote, a gunman whose weapon was loaded with 2 additional full magazines and ready to go. He said Alex was an agitator and perhaps an insurrectionist, obviously projecting about himself. Dictators in other countries would literally be impressed at how brazen these lies and propaganda spread by the Trump regime and Kristi Noem are. So Governor Walz, I want to thank you and Attorney General Ellison for putting up with all of the lying and hypocrisy from the Republican majority. Governor, is the Trump administration attempting to block Minnesota state and local police from investigating the murders of Alex Preddy and Renee Nicole Good?
I believe we're not getting any cooperation, and we were told we would not be part of that. Attorney General may know more.
Yes, Congresswoman, we have been told that we would not have access to investigative file, which would include evidence that would be relevant to the investigation in both cases. And even there's one case, shooting incident that that was non-fatal, and that one has also been, we've been frozen out on that as well.
So 2 follow-up
We've had to go to
questions.
court to get the evidence preserved.
Okay,
Yeah.
and 2 follow-up questions, and whichever one of you wants to answer. Why do you think that might be the case, and is this out of the ordinary?
It is wildly out of the ordinary. I can tell you that our local FBI, ATF, even before Operation Metro Surge, you heard about ICE matters, but you didn't hear about it nearly as much as we do now. This is an extraordinary departure from what we know. And we routinely work with federal partners, and we never had problems until now like this.
I would just speculate that they need to take accountability for it, and I think they understood what the world saw, that this was improper, and it needs to have justice for these families, and it doesn't appear, I hope those questions are being asked of Secretary Noem today.
And Governor Walz and Attorney General Ellison, are you committed to getting to the truth about the murders of Alex Preddy and Renee Good?
Absolutely, yes.
Yes, I pledge to their families we'd do that.
Thank you. We need to hold this administration accountable for these murders, starting by impeaching Krsti Noem for gross misconduct, lying to Congress, and failure to uphold the laws and the Constitution. I yield back.
Chair recognizes